What you just witnessed was the result of poor planning in Unrailed, and this is just one of the many ways to poorly planning the game, as you hastily rush back and forth between your train, piles of wood and iron, and your partially built track in what I will say now is one of the most enjoyable and frantic co-op experiences I've had since playing Overcooked 2 with my family. My name's Gotcake, and welcome to Star or Shovelware. So Unrailed is a cooperative roguelike game with a very simple set of rules. You have to mine for iron and chop down trees for wood to build pieces of track, and lay the track in front of your train to keep it rolling to the next station. You can play the game in both local and online co-op modes, but if you don't have anyone to play with then you get to order a bot around. This is done by selecting options from an emoji wheel accessible by holding ZL. And it will then do your bidding, and you can indicate your desired route to it by drawing it out with some easy to place markers. Now, while playing with yourself can be fun, I always find that some things are best enjoyed with a group of people, and that is the case with Unrailed. Jumping into a game with multiple human operatives is where the real fun lies, and just like in Overcooked, the more people involved, the more messy things become, especially if you don't have any sort of voice comms and have to try and rely on the in-game emojis to direct your team. So Unrailed has several game modes, but we'll start off with the one that you'll likely be playing the most, Endless Mode. In this mode things start off relatively simple and your train moves at a snail's pace. Lush green meadows are laid out before you and the game gently eases you in. Now in each game you begin with a bunch of tools at your disposal shared amongst all players. You have a single pickaxe for mining rocks for steel, a single axe to chop down trees for wood, and a single water bucket which is used to top up your train's water tank and keep it cool. And this must be done every 30 seconds or so or your train will burst into flames, and the fire will slowly spread throughout its carriages, rendering them useless until you put it out. Now in order to build track segments, wood and iron must be carried by hand to the storage wagon. These materials will then be used by the crafting wagon to produce track segments which you can then carry and place down on the floor. You simply have to repeat this process to get your train to the next station and complete the round, but where the real challenge comes in is with coordinating this. Now I played online with two friends and we had the most success by assigning roles, but another thing which is key to success is planning your route to the station. In Unrailed, two players can't occupy the same square, so it's important to try and maintain a walkway alongside your train, wide enough for two people to pass each other. This also means that you maintain access to your train's carriages, which is extremely important, and failing to do this led to our demise on more than one occasion. If you can't get to your carriages to build more pieces of track, and your train reaches the end of the current track, then it'll explode and that's game over. Now as you play through levels you'll earn golden bolts which are used between rounds to upgrade your train carriages and buy new ones. There are a bunch of different carriage types including a transformer wagon which converts materials from one type to another, a carriage which temporarily stops your train from moving when you dash into it, and one that produces dynamite which can be used to blow up resources. Now golden bolts can be earned in three ways. Firstly by completing a round, secondly by completing the round's mission, which often includes things such as stacking resources or placing a certain number of track parts, or thirdly by collecting golden bolts in levels, which often require you to go out your way and build bridges across water to get to them. Once you've collected 4 golden bolts, you can then choose to use them to upgrade to a new engine. This will increase the maximum number of carriages that you can pull and take you to the next biome, which introduces additional features making the game more challenging. The desert biome introduces camels who drink the water out of your bucket and bandits who steal resources from you. The winter biome contains snow which slows your movement speed as you try to clear it, and the Halloween biome really messes with you by rotating the screen in different ways. It's also worth noting that each time you complete a round, the train's movement speed is increased slightly, also increasing the difficulty factor. Now each game you play in Unrailed is generated from a seed, which means you'll never play the same game twice, but you are able to enter a seed number if you want to replay a specific level or share it with friends. The game also contains 3 different difficulty settings, and an option to enable checkpoints which allow you to retry from the start of your current biome if you fail in a game. In addition to endless mode, there's quick mode which sees you playing a single round, with the objective being to reach the station in the fastest time possible, Sandbox mode, where you can create a custom train from the parts that you've unlocked in Endless mode, allowing you to start from any biome with a bunch of materials. And finally there's Versus mode, which requires at least 2 human players and sees 2 teams racing to complete the track and reach the station first. So in all, when it comes down to it, I had an absolute blast playing Unrailed. Its premise is simple, but there are a bunch of great mechanics which all work well together to create a fun and tension-filled co-op experience. I love the visuals, which were very reminiscent of Minecraft, and I never experienced any frame rate issues, bar a few brief freezes which sometimes occurred at the start of a round as the level loaded. When it comes to audio, the game's music and sound effects were pretty cheery, and easy to listen to for long periods of time. Despite my co-op buddy's latencies showing at around 250 milliseconds, in-game there was actually no noticeable lag. I think the only thing that I would criticise about the game is the inability to remove train carriages and replace them with others, though this isn't necessarily a bad thing as it forces you to think carefully before selecting a carriage to add. So now let's get to rating Unrailed. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with a shovelware stamp of approval reserved for only the worst eShop titles. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on the quality and quantity of gameplay, and whether or not I think the game offers value for money. And for a rating I'd give Unrailed 4 out of 5 stars. It offers an excellent co-op experience with a ton of replayability, and I'd highly recommend picking the game up, especially if you're a fan of the Overcooked games. You can get Unrailed from the UK Switch eShop for £15.99, or from the US eShop for $19.99. Alternatively, the game will also be available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Steam. And that's it for this review of Unrailed. Hit that like button if it helped you out, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comment section below. As always, subscribe to the channel for future Switch related content and reviews, and feel free to become part of the growing community on the Starseekers Discord server. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, game on.